Well, the 2023 Christmas special for Doctor Who is out, and it is, how do I put this? Blandly disinteresting. Cis gay man Russell T Davies, because clearly this is the most important thing about him, was 100% correct when he said this: new Doctor Who episodes will upset die-hard fans. No lies detected. Cis gay man Russell T Davies, because clearly this is the most important thing about him, has said that new Doctor Who episodes will upset die-hard fans of the science fiction franchise. The Welsh screenwriter and television producer, now turned adult children's storyteller, discussed the new release, which will be the centerpiece of the BBC's Christmas Day lineup. The once family-friendly science fiction show about a man in a police box is now just become bedtime stories for adult children. Because the show lacks any form of sophistication or a complex thought for that matter. Speaking to the Radio Times about this special episode, he said, the show is taking a sly step towards fantasy, which will annoy people to whom it's a hard science fiction show. Personally, I think it will annoy anyone who wants to see a story that is more complex than the Teletubbies.
God, the more I resist, the more intriguing they become. I can't look away.
Episode 2 next year is wildly fantasy, completely making up scenarios on screen that we've never been able to show before. Yes, because showing goblins on screen and fantasy in general has been found wildly offensive to audiences, which has never been the case. And largely, I think that is probably one of the stupidest things I've heard today. That's right, folks, because the very notion of folk horror has never been done in Doctor Who ever. Except that it has. On multiple occasions, actually. The episode will air at tea time on BBC One on Christmas Day and has been called a blockbuster adventure. Well, blockbuster is not exactly a word I would use to go and describe this show. There you go, Telegraph, I fixed it for you. Lackluster adventure is actually more accurate. How to watch the Doctor Who Holiday Special. How to watch the Doctor Who Christmas Special on Disney+. Wow, this really is a show for adult children. Can I watch the Christmas Doctor Who special on BBC? Do I need my parents' permission before I watch Doctor Who? Probably. What do I need to have watched beforehand? Well, it's funny that you asked, because this is Doctor Who that is made for people who don't like Doctor Who and have the emotional maturity of a 12-year-old. In the Christmas special, we are introduced to the new companion, Ruby Tuesday. Oh, my bad, I meant Ruby Sunday. It really does just sound like a restaurant. Generically bland. We find out that Ruby Tuesday is an orphan who was abandoned on Christmas Eve. She was left at a church on Ruby Street, where she got her name from. Interesting, right? And I can sum up this entire episode in probably under a minute. The show opens up with Ruby Tuesday at a club with one of her girlfriends.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
We see the Doctor at the club dancing in a skirt because of course he would.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
True.
We see mischief making by the goblins because reasons. We then find out that Ruby Tuesday lives with her foster mother, who has fostered over 31 children and counting. A new baby is dropped off to the foster mother, because clearly that's how the foster system works in the UK. The foster mom goes out for supplies and the baby is promptly kidnapped by goblins. Because goblins are called goblins because they gobble you up. Ruby Tuesday climbs up onto the roof where she spots the goblins stealing the baby. They are climbing up to their airship and she decides to get on the ladder as it's taking off. And then the Doctor randomly shows up again to intervene. Once on board the ship, Ruby Tuesday and the Doctor are captured by the goblins and they are tied up and left alone with no guards. For reasons. The Doctor manages to go and slip his bonds, and then Ruby Tuesday asks him, well, how did you learn that? Where he replies that he spent a hot, steamy summer with Harry Houdini. Yet another example of cis gay man Russell T Davies, because clearly this is the most important thing about him, taking liberties with history, because Harry Houdini was actually married. And as far as I'm aware, there aren't any rumors of him being gay. The baby is then put on a very convenient conveyor belt, which will take it to the Goblin King, where it awaits his open mouth to go and gobble up the baby, because he's so fat he can't move and nobody can be bothered to carry the baby to him, apparently. were also treated with 2 musical numbers.
No baby soul says she's a treat. Her destiny is time to meet.
Why stop singing?
Rocket Janice! Cause the Goblin King, oh the Goblin King.
Because.
Gay!
And the doctor rescues the baby and all is well, except all is not well because the goblins decide to go and travel back in time and steal the new companion when she was a baby, which causes a massive disruption to the current timeline. Up is down, left is right, and the foster mother doesn't really give a shit anymore.
I'm looking for your daughter.
Don't be daft. Lulu's not my daughter. I'm fostering her just for a couple of days.
No. I mean your daughter Ruby.
Who's Ruby?
The doctor travels back in time to the Christmas Eve where Ruby Tuesday was abandoned and saves her from being eaten by the Goblin King by putting on his magical gloves that have the ability to make someone really light or really heavy, and pulls down the goblin airship onto the spire of the church, impaling the Goblin King. Because I'm sure that's not a metaphor for anything.
Now they're having butt sex.
And then the goblin aircraft just magically unravels because of course it would. No questions asked. Anyway, the doctor returns back to the present and Ruby Tuesday is back, where she goes and joins the new doctor through his adventures through DEI, identity politics, and social justice. Because cis gay man Russell T Davies couldn't be bothered to tell a story about a man in a police box traveling through space and time. Like I said, overall, I found the storytelling of this episode to be rather lackluster and basic and nothing to write home about. Ncutie Gatwa was clearly one of the better aspects of this episode, and it sucks because if given good writing, he could potentially be a good doctor. But if we're being honest with ourselves, he's only there for 2 reasons: gay and black. With this episode being rather lackluster, it is no surprise that the viewership numbers are absolutely abysmal. Doctor Who's Christmas Day Special, the show's first since 2017, claimed 3rd place, with 4.7 million viewers tuning in to watch sex education star Ncutie Gatwa make his first full appearance as the 15th Time Lord. And yes, those are absolutely abysmal numbers for a new doctor. Now, if this TV show was on an actual network and something that was not publicly funded like the BBC, it would probably be canceled halfway through its season. And clearly it's also being propped up by Disney's ESG money. At this point, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that a lot of people have checked out of Doctor Who. These numbers are absolutely abysmal, and this could potentially be a worse run than Jodie Whittaker. Sadly, as I'm sure most of you know, Doctor Who is dead, and it's dead because it was smothered in the middle of the night with a pillow by identity politics. R.I.P. Doctor Who. Anyway, folks, that is my take. What is yours? Leave a comment and let me know what are your thoughts on Ncutie Gatwa's run so far as the Doctor. Do you think it's going to be worse than Jodie Whittaker? Will Doctor Who actually get pulled off the air, or are they going to give us another 3 seasons of it just because they can't admit failure? And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my thoughts on Doctor Who, you can go and click on this video right here. While you're at it, hit that like button on your way out. If you're new to the channel, go and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.